let's talk about Tiny Room.
Okay.
Because to me, like, let's just go back to an incredible way to get music out. Number one, utilizing social media in a way that I think there's like the hip hop artists and the rap artists have been doing that for a long time, utilizing social media, dropping singles every single day. Some of them, I mean, just really pushing it out there,
Hmm.
utilizing video, live video things, and dropping it out there. You started doing that, and I love the fact that it's the tiny room sessions because you have different artists come in and you play with them.
Hmm.
And we were talking before we came on to do the interview. You've got 5 cameras in there. I mean, so you're getting different angles, it's moving around, but you're really getting the music out there because I'm looking at your views and they're just skyrocketing because it's good music, it's great to watch, it's on a lot of different platforms, and I mean, you didn't even have to leave your tiny room.
Yeah.
And
Right.
people are getting the music.
That's
What was the concept? I mean, did you because it also doesn't look like you're like, in a beat up basement. I mean, it's a very nice tiny room you
no. It's
have there.
highly
Yeah.
curated and designed by a guy named Eric Lloyd.
Where is it? Is it in a studio somewhere or
Yeah.
where?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in LP Studios in
Okay.
Los Angeles, and the owner of LP Studios who helped me build out the concept is a guy named Eric Lloyd, who's just this incredible video engineer, um, and conceptual spatial artist, like great carpenter, like this incredibly talented in so many ways. And I mean, he helps me curate all the events that we do in the space. We've been holding these big parties, um, with or an organization called Jam Card, where we've had like Ghost Note come in and play, and like hundreds of musicians packed into
Yeah.
the big room in LP Studios, which is, um, there's the tiny room, and then which actually the very first tiny room recording we did, we recorded in the tiny room and broadcast to the big room via live video
Oh,
feed.
really?
Yeah, with cheat codes. The producer group, a guy named Trevor Dahl who wrote the song, he was a writer on No Promises, which is that song with Demi Lovato. So we brought
Okay.
him in and did that as our first one in 2018 that we recorded. But when we did that, I also held a party and packed the live room full of people, and then recorded it, um, like as we were doing the actual recording, broadcast it into the
Oh,
party
and then
room.
you recorded that as well.
We
Yeah.
recorded the actual recording like we do on the Tiny Room
Right.
series, which you can see if you go
Yep.
to Facebook /Tiny Room Live, or look up Tiny Room on Facebook. Um, it's still in beta form, by the way. We're talking to
How many have you done though? I mean, you've done
Mm,
25,
52 actually.
52?
52. We released one every week last year, but a lot of those are. I had this concept at a point where I wanted to the new Drake record had just come out,
Mm-hmm.
and and I wanted to do something with that. So I brought in a bunch of my friends, who were coming through LA to reimagine the beats on the Drake record and make it into more of a jazz thing, which I haven't really put that out yet, but we put out
I
like
saw a snippet of one or one tune
we
maybe.
put out the videos themselves only on the Facebook channel, and
Okay.
I'm still deciding how I'm going to actually release the audio content, if I'm going to chop it up, produce a record out of it, or whatnot. But I mean, it's Mono Neon, Spot Seawright, Ronald Bruner Jr., Russell and Sirota on
Mm-hmm.
synthesizers and piano sometimes, and I'm playing on it as well. Um, but that was like one of the concepts that ended up being 25 videos because
Right.
it's 25 tracks. Then all the other ones, we had a band called Transviolet, which is great. They just played Jimmy Kimmel, um, this great pop band. Uh, we had Lido come in and do something with him and Javon, where we reimagined his songs, that he had just released as a rap album with him and Javon.
Oh, yeah.
We had Butcher Brown come in and do acoustic renditions of their electric works.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Um, so just all of these artists. It originally was going to be pop artists that I knew coming in and doing like broken down jazz rearrangements, collaborating with jazz artists that I knew.
Right.
But then it turned into like, okay, Butcher Brown is in town and they're like, they can come in to do something. So let's have them do something just different than what they normally do. And then these other bands coming in and doing something that you just wouldn't hear them doing. I want to get people out of their comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get people out of their comfort zone, they get into the moment. And when you get them in the moment, that's when you tap into that wellspring of creativity that I was talking about earlier.
Yep.
Because it puts you on the edge of your seat. It puts you like, you don't have a choice but to think of anything else. That's something Herbie told me. when he was playing with Miles,
Hmm.
he said, I was basically hired to go out and explore every night. I was hired to go and discover. That's why it was so great, because he was learning every single time he was playing and reaching and figuring out new shit, like whatever could happen, pushing, having one foot in the order of the changes and the vocabulary, and then one foot in chaos of the unknown. Like,
Yeah.
where can we go and still have it make sense? Still have it be tapping into something real, something like that's still like in the context of what we're trying to create. That's exactly the concept that I try to bring out in the artists when we go into Tiny Room. For the Lido session, for example, we spent all day. We did we did 7 songs, but really we focused on 5 of them. And every time we spent we spent the first like hour and a half with the musicians, who were these great jazz musicians in LA. Solomon Dorsey, um, it was either was it Gene Coy, or was it Chesley Allen? I don't remember if it was Gene or Chesley on that session, but it was me and Solomon and the drummer, um, and we spent like an hour and a half with each song reimagining it. Like, what can we do with this song that's not in the context of the album
Right.
itself? Like putting different changes behind it, putting different sections in it, and then go in and record it right there. Boom, done.
Yeah.
It's nerve-wracking, and it zones your brain into that moment. And then when we capture it with the cameras, you're capturing a moment that is irreplicable. You will never see that on a stage. You'll never see that at another point in history. It's only there with those people, because of those people. That's what I want to capture with Tiny Room.
Yeah. So what do you have next? Because I got to get you to the jazz showcase. But that, I mean, the Tiny Room series and everything you've been talking about, it just keeps leading one step to another step to another step. But it just keeps, it's all focused around bringing out your creativeness, your creative juices, right? And being in the moment and just continuing to push the limits. So what do you have coming up next? I mean, I know you're going to be touring with Makaya in the
Makaya and I are
spring.
touring a lot this year. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. I love touring
That's
with him.
awesome,
He's
man.
one of my best friends. It's great to have people who, like, Makaya has been a rock in my life for so many different like twists and turns and ups and downs, like, and musically he and I have had so much influence on each other, going back and forth, like him showing me something, me showing him something, and then with the other people in our community. I feel really lucky to still have that relationship and the other relationships in the Chicago scene. These incredible artists that where we give each other feedback, and we're like there for each other personally and musically.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, you guys all have different experiences, and then when you guys get together as a group, I mean, you're pulling from a totally different experience than Makaya is, and from
mhm.
whoever else. So, I mean, when you guys get together, it's like you guys are able to share all these different concepts and thought processes and everything else. But a lot of times, musicians, I think, don't share. They're just like they give you a shot with a, okay, whatever, man. They're not going to say anything, but you know these guys well enough, and you guys are all kind of on the same page. So you're touring with
Yeah.
Makaya.
Well, there's something
Oh yeah,
important
yeah.
about that.
Yep.
That's because you're right, and then I've experienced this at various points in my musical history. I think but that goes into a general concept of, like, it's the various aspects that one can live as a human being. We all have an ego. We all have competitive nature. Especially in the music community, it's like you've got to have some sort of competitive nature if you were going to have practiced as much as you did to make it where you are.
Right.
If you are a successful musician,
Right.
there's some competitiveness there, but it's there's a level of living, of experiencing as a human being that goes so far beyond that, beyond the ego, where you recognize that you and somebody else, like the person that you're next to, it's like, I mean, on the deepest level, there's no difference between the two of you. If you're talking about a spiritual level, about the oneness of self and environment, the oneness of you and me, and in the end, if you could go layer and layer and layer and layer deeper, there's no difference. So your success and your benefit is my success and my benefit. And I think when you have a community of people that can get past the egos, that a lot of musicians and a lot of people in general, they allow their egos to manifest negative aspects of their life and try to tear each other down. And that's where you get musicians, which I've experienced, of people like doing their thing and then like not wanting to show you.
Right.
Or like, I've got my thing going on, but I don't want you to share in it because I'm competing with you. And I saw that actually more in New York than I did in Chicago and in LA. That's one of the reasons I didn't move there. Though there's a great community there of people sharing as well. But you only get these communities that rise up when you have people who are willing to step beyond themselves and be part of something greater and share literally everything that they have to give.
Mm-hmm.
Their sound, their knowledge, their understanding, their life, their business, like all aspects of it. And Makaya and I share all aspects of that and same with other people in the community. Like, I mean, Junius Paul is one of them as well. And so many people in the Chicago community, Matt Eulery, Isaiah Sharkey, like Sheree Reed. I could go.
Yeah, you could keep
a
listing
million
and listing,
people
right?
like
Yeah.
who are just as relevant as any of them. But that's why Chicago's risen up lately, because we have shared, and that's also why people in the New York scene have risen up. That's why Robert Glasper and Chris Dave and that community is where they are, and they're a little older than us, and they've done their thing in a different vein.
Mm-hmm.
But that these communities thrive because there are people who are willing to go beyond themselves and explore something for the sake of exploration and create something for the sake of creation. And then you get something that's actually worth listening to.
That's a great place to stop.
All right. I don't know if I answered your question at all with that. But
you did. You did.
right.
Man, thanks so much. I'm glad
It's
we
such a
did this,
pleasure.
man.
Thank you,
I'm
Mike.
glad we did this. Everybody, thanks so much for watching. Greg Spero, gregspero.com. You can check out where he's playing and watch any new releases. Obviously, Tiny Room on Facebook, and keep an eye out because you might have a name change, but everybody's going to know about that as well.
Yeah, check out Spirit Fingers. And then also watch out for the thing. Right now I'm calling it the Chicago Project, but it'll probably change names. But it's a recording with Makaya McCraven, Marquise Hill, Daryl Jones, and Jeff Parker. And then I'm going to have some other Chicago cats on it as well. But that'll probably be coming out in like late 2019.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. All right. So thanks so much for watching the April 2019 Chicago Jazz Digital Magazine issue. Greg, again, thanks so much. And get all the information and see the entire issue at chicagojazzmagazine.com. And until next month, we'll see you then.